Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on The Flash Season 4. So this is going to be my review for Episode 3, otherwise entitled Luck Be a Lady. But obviously before we get into the rest of the video, if you have not watched the episode, be sure to go check it out before you watch the rest of this video, because we're going to be jumping into spoilers. And there's some big revelations this episode, bigger than I was actually expecting, so yeah, strap yourselves in. Now, obviously, in the last couple of episodes, right at the end of the episodes, we've seen the Thinker, who was obviously the big villain for this season. But this episode, changed it up a bit, and at the beginning of the episode, we get the Thinker just, strutting his stuff. Now, this was actually a couple of weeks ago, so this isn't like present day. So it's from a few weeks ago, around the same time that Barry was getting out of the Speed Force, and he was sort of like, just surveilling the villain for this episode, or the antagonist for this episode, who is Becky Sharp, and he's just spectating her bad luck. And you gotta feel bad for her, like, this chick had a lot of bad luck going on her side, but she gets on this bus after getting fired from her job, and on this bus as well is Ramsey Deacon, aka Kilgore, from the last episode. And I was like, okay, something's gonna happen here. And this is when we see this big flash of lightning, and this is how all of these people got their powers. Now, they do show two other people. You can see some other people in the background, so I'm assuming the two people that they sort of focused on when Becky got on the bus will be villains, maybe not in the next couple of episodes, but in episodes to come. But essentially, that's how all these people got their powers, and I had a feeling as to what was going on here, like where they were and what that big flash of light was, but we'll get to that later in the video. So what happened later in the episodes just sort of confirmed my suspicions. Now, was I the only one that really wanted to be at that Team Flash laser tag party? It looked like a lot of fun, but Cisco, come on, you got to work on your trash talk. It's not very good. But you have to appreciate Cisco dropping the "you have failed this city" line to Barry, because, when they chuck little lines in that from other shows, it's just always good. So a little arrow shout out there. We knew going into this episode that Harry Wells from Earth 2 would be returning to Earth 1, but Wally was sort of expecting Jesse Quick to be showing up, and well, he got her father instead. We got a little Aquaman shout out, I guess you could say, when he mentions Atlantean plastic that this little breakup box was made up of, and I think that he says that it's, sort of dodgy sometimes, but yeah, a little Aquaman shout out there. But we find out that Jesse actually wants to break up with Wally, and this whole scene was pretty awkward. Now, Violet Bean, who plays Jesse Quick, is on another show. She's doing some stuff at the moment, so she doesn't really have time to be on The Flash, so that's just really a good reason as to why they're doing this. But I guess she had time to record that sort of video message that sort of went like all weird and stuff, so yeah. But it was pretty interesting seeing Becky Sharp's good luck field at work. So at the beginning of this episode, it's pretty small. So basically, if you walk past her, you experience bad luck while she experiences good luck. So she's walking through a bank, everything around her is happening so she can walk through and clearly take money. So it's good luck to her, but bad luck has to happen to other people to allow that good luck to happen to her, if that makes sense. So it's sort of like a positive and negative reaction. So she's giving all this bad luck to others to rob this bank, including Barry when he comes to stop her, and he slips on marbles of all things, which I thought was pretty funny. We'd seen that in the trailer. Pretty funny. But I did mention Harry before, and I just love having Harry and Cisco back together. I think they are the best couple on the show, if that makes sense. They're not romantic, but the back and forth between them is the most entertaining parts of a lot of episodes that the two are in, and it's just great having Harry back. And I'm sure a lot of people called Joe dropping the whole "this house is bitchin'" when the plumber was over, and he was going to say this house is probably crap or something like that, and Joe cuts in and finishes off his sentence by saying bitchin'. So I think that's going to be like a meme throughout this season, like they will drop the whole "this house is bitchin'" thing. And I think even later in the episode, Joe drops like a "we are" thing. How Iris had gone "we are the Flash." I think Joe dropped a thing saying, we are responsible for what happened. So there's little memes going on this season of The Flash, and it's almost like tongue-in-cheek, but yeah. But we do find out that Barry exiting the Speed Force actually created the metas, which I hinted at before. I thought that's what was going on with that bus, because I remember when Barry did escape from the Speed Force, there was a bus right in front of like the hole that opened up. So all the people on that bus have now got metahuman powers. So we have seen Ramsey Deacon, and now we have Becky Sharp. But really, if you think about it, it's not really Barry's fault that this happened, because Barry wasn't the one that exited the Speed Force. It was Team Flash that got him out of there. So Team Flash is actually responsible for something for once, and not, everyone pointing the finger at Barry. There was a pretty random scene in this episode when Barry and Iris tried to get married, because Iris just thinks because of all this bad luck, they're not going to get married, and it's just everything's going to go terrible, and it's just not going to happen. But thankfully, for people that really wanted a proper ceremony, an allergy or an allergic reaction to cinnamon stops that, ceremony from happening. So another case of bad luck, I guess you could say. The one thing I wasn't really too sure about in regards to this scene was the funeral crashing. Like, similar to last week with the whole couples therapy, the humor's a bit off. Like, they're just trying to make too many jokes. Like, this scene would have worked and it would have been funnier if it was like a wedding that they were crashing and trying to get their own wedding done, or if it was just another type of service. I'm not too sure about them trying to go like the whole contrast thing, like the opposite of a wedding, I guess, would be a funeral. So I don't know why they were trying to do that. I just don't think it worked that well, but that just might be me, but let me know if you agree with me. It was pretty cool finding out that Jessie has her own team on Earth too, and Harry got kicked off of that team. So Jessie has her own Team Flash, I guess. So I wonder if we'll ever see that. That could be like maybe the 2-part thing we have later in this season. Maybe we meet Jessie's team, who knows? But yeah, pretty interesting finding that out. But as I did mention earlier in the episode, like Becky's sort of field around her that gave off bad luck and gave her good luck was very small, but the more, good luck she received and the more time, she was, getting positive things happening to her, that bad luck field grows. And it was happening rapidly towards the end of this episode due to her winning just ridiculous amounts at the casino. So we saw like a plane get hit with a goose. The guy was even talking about like, oh, what are the chances of a goose hitting us again? So yeah, the plane gets hit with a goose. It starts to crash. The particle accelerator activates. The West House just starts to implode and start crumbling to the ground essentially. So there was a lot of stuff going on. Like, this was pretty high stakes stuff going on in this episode that I don't think a lot of us were expecting going into it. I was surprised that they did actually let the particle accelerator explode though, but it counters Hazard's powers, so it was good work by Harry there. You have to give him bonus points there. But I wonder if there's going to be any other effects, because technically it didn't explode, it just activated properly, so it just let off energy. So I'm not too sure about the scientific stuff behind it. If anyone does want to explain it to me, and everyone else in the comment section down below more precisely, feel free to. But it wasn't the same explosion that we had in in season 1 that gave like Barry and other metahumans powers. It was a different type of explosion that just sort of countered Hazard's bad luck field. So I think that's what they were going for. But it was good to see Cisco like entice Harry to stay. Pretty sure he's staying. That scene was sort of unclear, but I'm pretty sure he's staying because the more Harry, the better. But now Team Flash has their own sort of like a bingo board, if you want to call it that, with all the metahumans. So there's 2 bus metas down, 10 to go. Similar to what the Thinker has. Obviously the Thinker has a bit more of a high-tech setup where he has their, what do you call them? Their Iron Heights prison sort of surveillanced. So he's a bit more advanced in regards to that, but, Team Flash is catching on to what's going on here. Now, I guess one of the not that surprising moments of the episode, because I think a lot of us knew it was coming, was Wally leaving Central City, just due to, him wanting to, collect himself, because he mentioned something that no one noticed he was gone. I had no idea he was gone, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys were the same. Like, that's the thing with Wally, because they try to make him focused in certain episodes, and then other episodes he's just not that relevant, and you just forget about him. Like, you remember Barry, you remember Cisco, you remember Caitlin, but you just don't remember Wally too much, and like, it's like the show is acknowledging that. So Wally's actually going to Blue Valley. Now this is sort of like an Easter egg to the comics, because Blue Valley is where Wally West was from originally in the comics. So when he was a kid, he's from Blue Valley. So that's like a little nod to that, I guess, and he's going to visit a friend there and stay there. Now, Wally is meant to be back around the crossover. He will be in the crossover episodes, or a crossover episode for the West Allen or the Barry and Iris wedding. I don't know if he comes back and then stays after that. We'll have to wait and see, obviously. But he will be back for that episode at least. And I think they might just leave him out of the season for a bit and then bring him back in the back half. Just, because if there's no real need to have Wally there, don't force it. Like, they have set up something where, he wants to go away, collect himself. So just stick with that. There's no real need to force him back onto the show. But of course, Harry is the one to connect the dots and figure that someone wanted these metahumans to be created. So he had a plan to get Barry out. All these metahumans were on that bus to get hit by that dark matter. So someone has a plan, and now I guess it really just comes down to Team Flash figuring out who is the one that's coming up with this plan. But they're going to have one big issue around that because, well, the Thinker is just, I guess you could say he's just chucking at Prometheus. He's 10 steps ahead of them, isn't he? And he's got that Samuroid helmet in the base. So obviously Cisco wanted to keep it as a souvenir. They've got the Samuroid helmet there, and it's the Samuroid helmet spy camera. So the Thinker's just able to see what Team Flash is up to. He knows all of their secret identities. He knows that Barry is the Flash. There's no secret there. So really, it's going to be interesting to see how the Flash is able to outthink the Thinker. And I guess the end of the episode is pretty random as well. We find out Cecile is pregnant. I wasn't expecting that when the scene started. I thought maybe Joe was going to say, I'm selling the house or something. But then that sort of wrapped up and I was like, oh, they started talking about kids. Oh, she's going to mention she's pregnant. Oh, Cecile is pregnant. So this is going to be a... the kid might be born by the end. No, I don't think he'd be born by the end of the year. So that'd be something that carries on into next season. Maybe Cecile dies. Who knows what's going to happen, but the kid won't be born, I don't think, before the end of the season if I have my timing correct. But Joe's reaction was hilarious. Like, I think Joe's like, oh, I'm getting ready for grandchildren from Barry and Iris, but okay, now I'm having another child, so oh god. But overall, I thought this episode was really fun. As I said, a lot more reveals than I thought we would be getting in this episode. I wasn't really expecting us to, like, you know, get all this Thinker stuff laid out. The Thinker was in this episode a lot. And yeah, so a lot's being played out. I'm very interested to see how it plays out for the rest of the season. Seeing that we're only on episode 3, there's 20 more episodes in this season. So how are they going to stretch out that Thinker storyline even more? I'm sure they will do it well, just because it seems like going up to the mid-season finale, there's a lot going on that really won't focus too much on, like, delving too much into the Thinker storyline. Then they'll leave that for the back half. But yeah, there's a lot happening in this episode and I was actually very surprised. But thanks for watching, guys. If you did enjoy the video, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on the video to show your support for the video and the channel as a whole. Let me know in the comments section down below, what did you think of this episode? What did you like? What didn't you like? Just let me know down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.